UFC on Fox results. Demetrious Johnson tags out Wilson Reis to retain title, sets title record. Demetrious Johnson had the opportunity to tie Anderson Silva's record for most consecutive title defenses of 10 if he defeated Wilson Reis at UFC on Fox Saturday night. He did just that, defeating Reis by submission armbar at 4:49 of the third round. From start to finish, it was all Johnson. Reis couldn't muster any offense, and Johnson did whatever he wanted to with no repercussions. Johnson threw combinations, and made Reis miss wildly. That will. The end of the fight came after Johnson scored the takedown, putting Reis in mount position to start firing ground and pound punches. Effortlessly, Johnson took Reis' right arm, quickly transitioned and locked in an arm bar. Reis had no choice but to tap out. Johnson, February 1, 26, is now undefeated in 13 consecutive fights and is one fight away from breaking the record for title defenses. When asked by Brian Stann in his post-fight interview if he wanted a super fight with the winner of bantamweight champion Cody Garbrandt or TJ Dillashaw or to break the record, Johnson was vague, but did make one thing clear. "I already told Dana White I need 7 figures," Johnson demanded. "I need $1 million payday. I'm out here cleaning it up." With the loss, Reis moves to 22-7 and snaps his 3-fight winning streak. Here was live coverage of UFC on Fox. 8 o'clock, UFC on Fox commences from the Sprint Center in Kansas City. In the much-anticipated main event, Demetrious Johnson looks to make history as he defends the UFC Flyweight Championship against Wilson Reis. With a victory, Mighty Mouse will tie the consecutive title defense record of 10, set by Anderson Silva. The co-main event, in a very important women's bantamweight bout, Michelle Waterson takes on Rose Namajunas. The winner is likely to face the winner of the UFC 211 co-main event between champion Joanna Jedrzejczyk and challenger Jessica Andrade. 8:15, to kick off the main card of UFC on Fox. In featherweight action, Jeremy Stephens goes up against Renato Moicano. Stephens, a perennial contender at 145 pounds, has dropped 2 of his last 3 fights. Moicano is 10-0-1 and won both fights inside the octagon but hasn't competed since a split decision win over Zubair Tukhugov at UFC 198 back in May. 8:40, Renato Moicano defeated Jeremy Stephens by split decision 28-29, 29-28, 29-28. Sporting News agreed with the one judge who had scored a 29-28 Stephens. Moicano easily won the first round. He scored the takedown and controlled the fight on the ground. The second round, Stephens got it together and started to mix leg kicks and punches. In the third round, Moicano decided to circle the cage thinking he had the fight already in the bag. Stephens was more active and connecting when Moicano wasn't dancing around the octagon. "I guess the judges are fans of dancing." Moicano runs his record to 11-0-1 while Stephens suffered his third loss in 4 fights. 8:46, coming up next at UFC on Fox, in middleweight action, Jacare Souza goes up against Robert Whittaker. This is the sleeper for fight of the night. Souza comes in having won 10 of his last 11 fights. Whittaker comes in winning 6 consecutive fights to get himself into the conversation of one of the top 185-pound fighters in the UFC. 9:15, Robert Whittaker defeated Jacare Souza by TKO at 3:28 of the second round. Great performance by the Australian. It appeared Souza had Whittaker when he had his back, but Whittaker somehow got the fight back to the feet. After that, Whittaker went to work. Souza had no answer for Whittaker's striking. The beginning of the end started as Whittaker landed a straight right hand which dropped Souza, who made it back to his feet. Whittaker smelled blood though, connecting on another straight right followed by a head kick. Moments later, Whittaker landed another right hand to drop Souza and a series of vicious ground and pound punches. It was all over. The biggest win in the career of Whittaker. Fight fans felt Souza would walk over Whittaker to garner a shot at the middleweight title. The kink in Souza's armor has always been his striking. If he doesn't get the fight to the ground, it's hard for him to win, and Whittaker exposed the huge hole. Whittaker called out middleweight champion Michael Bisping, but that will be a while as the champion is set to face George St. Pierre sometime in 2017. If he resigns, the Jaggered Mousasi-Whittaker fight would whet the appetite. 9:18, up next at UFC on Fox, in women's strawweight action, Michelle Waterson goes up against Rose Namajunas. Waterson is the former Invicta FC atomweight champion, has won her 2 fights inside the octagon. Namajunas is a former strawweight title challenger, has won 3 of her last 4 fights. 9:35, Rose Namajunas defeated Michelle Waterson by submission rear naked choke at 2:47 of the second round. Leading up to the fight, Namajunas said she had the advantage on the feet and was the powerful fighter. She proved that and then some. Waterson got off to a good start, securing a takedown, but Namajunas quickly reversed position and had top position for the majority of the first round. In the second round, with Waterson in a cardy position, Namajunas landed a picture-perfect right high kick that looked like it would send Waterson packing. But she kept fighting on her back, but Namajunas was able to get her back and lock in the choke. Waterson battled as long as she could but had no choice to tap out. Fight week centered around Waterson, but Namajunas spoiled the party and now lined herself up for the winner of the women's strawweight title fight at next month's UFC 211. 10:47. The main event is here at UFC on Fox, as Demetrious Johnson defends the flyweight title against Wilson Reis. Johnson is regarded as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world today. With a win over Reis, Johnson will tie Anderson Silva's record for most consecutive title defenses with 10. Reis got into this position by winning 3 consecutive fights over Dustin Ortiz, Hector Sandoval and Ulka Sasaki. A win by Reis would be regarded among the biggest upsets in UFC history. 11-0 for round 1 to Johnson, 10-9. Great work from the champion. Johnson proving he's the quicker fighter with combinations that Reis been slow to react to. Reis needs to go for more takedown attempts as he did score on one. 11-10. Round 2 to Johnson, 10-8. 20-17 Johnson. More of the same from Johnson. Connecting on little combinations and still making Reis miss is a thing of beauty. Near the end of the round, Johnson nearly finished the fight. He landed a flush knee to drop Reis. Johnson threw several hammer fists and a punch at the end of the bell, but Reis survived. Reis needs to make it a dirty fight. Get Johnson against the cage and go to work from there.